Hi guys, how are you doing today? Um, I want to get right to the point today and dive right into what I wanted to share with you. And that is doing this one thing is going to really help you if you are struggling with confidence and getting back with your horses again, or maybe you feel like your horse's confidence has been shook and you want to help them get their confidence back. So, this is something that I have learned just through practice, but it's basically pretty universal across the board in any aspect of life. And that one thing is simply to, first off, you really need to discover where your threshold actually is. So, what I mean by that is if we're talking about you and your confidence, is you would need to slow down enough to identify when you start feeling anxious around your horse. Is it when you actually think about going out to your horse? Is it when you're trying to catch them? Is it when you're trying to put the saddle on? Is it right before you put your foot in the stirrup? Is it before you try to trot, before you try to lope, when you go out riding on the trail by yourself? There's going to be something, some place in all of that where you are going to start feeling anxious, and that's going to be different for everybody. So the key here is to first identify and really listen into yourself. When do you start feeling anxious? And really take note of that. And it's really important to also bring that anxiousness, invite that anxiousness to sit at your table. And by that I mean if you were to see another version of yourself sitting right beside you and they were super anxious and fearful, what would you say to them? You're gonna just shower them with empathy and compassion and encouragement, right? So that is, of course, the very, very first step. Once you've identified where do you actually feel anxious along that journey. The same thing will go for your horse, to really slow down and watch for their stress signals. When are they getting stressed out? When they see you walking up to them, are they walking away? Do they try to walk away from you when you put the halter on? Are they really fidgety when you put the saddle on? And really start identifying where they're anxious and what their threshold is. Because once you've identified that and you acknowledge it and you send some love to it and some compassion to it, then you can actually come up with a game plan. And that's the most exciting thing, because then you can actually start taking steps to get past that. And it's very simple, but it takes a lot of awareness. And that is stretching, not breaking, stretching that level of your comfort zone. So if you know that your anxiousness is, let's say it's trotting. So you feel completely confident doing everything with your horse until you feel like, okay, it's time to trot. And then your heart, starts to beat. Maybe your chest is getting, tight or feeling tension, you're getting stiff. Maybe you start having those thoughts in your head that, well, what happens if they spook and then they lope and then I fall off? And that it's a cycle. You're gonna know that pattern. And so what you can do, so if it's trotting, for example, that you find that is your above your threshold, is instead of just being like, you know what, suck it up, we're gonna go trot for 2 hours and I'm gonna get over my fear and I'm just gonna push myself through it. I don't recommend that at all. What I recommend is actually making very small steps to just stretch your threshold. So you're comfortable at a walk, you're very anxious at a trot. And so all I'm saying is pick a location in your arena or out on the trail, and I'm saying I'm going to trot 10 steps, maybe even just 5 steps. And then count it out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, bring it back to a walk. And then walk until you're completely relaxed again. Completely relaxed. And maybe that won't happen the first time, and that's fine. That is still amazing. And then the next ride, trot for 5 steps again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, bring it back to a walk. And then wait and see what happens. Do you still feel anxious for the rest of the ride, like you couldn't quite bring your nervous system back down to normal. That's still fine. Repeat that the next ride. But pretty soon, you're going to feel your body's nervousness actually come back down to normal range, if we want to call it normal range, faster and faster. And then you're going to be able to trot for 5 steps, and then you're going to be able to walk for 5 to 10 minutes. And then you're going to be like, I feel really calm now. And then you're going to be able to trot for 5 more steps. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, walk. And then you're going to be like, okay, after another half an hour or however long that is. And for you, right, everyone's different. You're going to be able to ask for that trot for 5 more steps. And then maybe the ride after that, you're going to be able to trot for 10 steps or 20 steps. The key to all of this is you are stretching your comfort zone. You're stretching your threshold, but you're not breaking it. You're not kind of setting yourself up to fail. 5 steps is 5 steps, and that is amazing. But to expect yourself to go and, okay, I'm going to go trot a quarter mile, and I'm going to just make myself get over my fear of trotting, is you're going to be so elevated. Your anxiety is going to be so elevated that you're not even going to really be able to comprehend exactly what is going on. And it's almost going to be pointless what you're doing, because you are going to be so above your threshold that your brain is going to just be kind of in panic mode. And if you've been around a horse for any amount of time, a dog, your children, you know what it's like when the anxiety is up really high. Nothing gets through to them. It's like trying to negotiate with a kid who's having a temper tantrum, or they're really sad or really scared. You can't negotiate with that. There is the logic part of your brain. You go back into lizard brain mode and trying to think that you can force yourself through that anxiety. You're lizard brain now when you get to that anxiety level. And so that's why it's really key to not get yourself into lizard brain mode. And to prevent doing that, that's why you're starting with the small steps, so that your conscious brain is still there. It is still listening. It is still in your body. And that is really, really key, so that your body can actually be there and be present for those trotting for 5 steps and be like, okay, nothing bad happened. And this is the exact same situation for your horse. If your horse is really nervous about something, you don't want to be making them go into lizard brain mode. You don't want them to be going into fight, flight, or freeze, because as soon as they do, they are not going to understand, comprehend, listen, grow, evolve at all while they are above their threshold. And so taking those really small steps to listen to them and be like, okay, where is their threshold? Where do they start feeling anxious? Okay, so we're going to work in this comfort zone, and then I'm going to ask my horse to do something, just something really small, to just stretch it just a bit, and then I'm going to let them come right back. Right? So you're not putting your horse into that fight, flight, or freeze mode. You're keeping them conscious and present with you. And you're going to be able to expand on that more and more and more. And then pretty soon, before you know it, your confidence is going to come back. Your horse's confidence is going to come back. And it doesn't need to be ugly, and it doesn't need to be terrifying. It doesn't need to be a panic attack, forcing yourself or forcing your horse to get through something, because that is the most, I think it's very damaging to try to force your horse to try to get over something. Just like, most parents, we don't force our kids to get over a fear. We encourage them. If they're scared to ride their bike, we'll be like, well, here, I'll support you. That's a small step, right? I'll hold the back of the bike while you try it, right? I'm not just going to be like, push you off a hill and expect the kid to be fine and not be traumatized, right? We take small steps. We encourage them. We let them try a little bit, and then we let them come back. And when they feel a little bit braver, pretty soon they're going to be like, well, okay, you stand right there and you run beside me, but I'm going to try to ride my bike by myself. But I need you there in case I start to wobble. It's that exact same grace that you need to give yourself and you need to give your horse. And it's just the most beautiful thing, because as you become more in tune with yourself and your levels of anxiety and stress, and you become more in tune with your horse's levels of anxiety and stress, your connection is going to become so much stronger. You're going to really be able to start having that feeling like, I know what my horse is thinking, and your horse is going to be like, oh my gosh, it feels like they know what I'm thinking. And they're going to respond even more, and they're going to trust you, and they're going to open up more. And it's just a full circle, beautiful connection. So I hope this helps point you in the right direction. If you are struggling with your confidence, or you feel like your horse is struggling with their confidence, and this applies to everything, right? Whether you've taken a break because you've had kids, or maybe you've got a job, a new job, and you haven't been able to ride for a long time. Or maybe you lost your horse and you have a new horse and you don't know how to get that connection back, that trust, that communication back. This all applies to, it doesn't matter your situation. If there's anxiety, stress, lack of confidence, this will help improve it. So I really encourage you to give this a try. If you're looking for more tips, more kind of mindset stuff to deal with this same type of scenario, your confidence, your horse's confidence, I would really encourage you to check out my free ebook. You can actually find it in the link in my bio. But anyway, I hope you have a fantastic day, and we will chat again very soon. All right? Take care, guys.